here's a little hint, people. I did not like the sequel any more than I did not like the first film. That's what I will say. But yeah, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a new episode of Halloween Horror Movie Reviews, and we're still on to a whole rant week. Because this is the second of two more bad movies I gotta watch for this. And that is, of course, the sequel to Jeepers Creepers, the worst sequel, Jeepers Creepers 2. Once again, directed by Creepers Salva. What is the plot of Jeepers Creepers 2? This time around, we're about a school bus full of high school basketball players, their coaches and cheerleaders that get stranded on a lonely road when their tire breaks down. Now they have to defend themselves from the creeper. Apparently this creeper resurfaces on Earth every 23 years to feed, which we find out. And then a farmer and his son, they set out on a personal mission to hunt down the creeper's revenge because their youngest son was taken by the creeper. So, how was this film made? Well, this film got shot on a private road on Chijón Ranch, California, and 3 buses got used during the film production that got later destroyed. And a 4th bus got constructed inside an airplane hangar. Victor Salva wrote a part for singer Meatloaf, but the negotiations did not work out. Or maybe Meatloaf probably knew of this guy and didn't want to work with him. So maybe that's what's really happened. And during filming, apparently Ray Wise's jacket caught on fire during the wielding sequence. Then there's one camera that's upside down where the creeper singles out the students, or actually, technically speaking, licks the bus. And even Victor Salva's little simp butt buddy, like Francis Fordicula, visited the set during the shoots. Because remember, they're butt buddies. Francis Ford, I bet, probably paid for his lawyers. That's probably why he only got to spend a few months in jail. I can bet you Francis probably paid for his lawyers, hence why he still got to direct movies. To bail him out. Because remember, Francis defended this guy's despicable actions. And it sucks that this guy's the director of my favorite movie of all time, the director of Apocalypse Now, the director of The Outsiders, the director of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I can separate Francis from those movies because I still enjoy those movies, but I don't like Francis Ford as a person. And that's definitely it. Dishonored his son's legacy, defended Victor Salva, is apparently quite a prick. And his newest film that just got released, Megalopolis, whatever the fuck it's called, is bombing hard at the box office and with people. And that doesn't surprise me. But anyway, back to Jeepers Creepers 2. This got produced by Myriad Pictures and America's Zoetrope, and then it got released, after it was finished shooting. Jeepers Creepers would be released to the public at the very end of the summer on August 29, 2003. And guess what? This movie got worse reviews from critics, but it made more money. And so, of course, it wouldn't be for 14 years. But it spawned another worser sequel called Jeepers Creepers 3. And that got made around the time when people finally started to realize who Victor was. So anyway, as for my reaction, I hate the first film, and I hate this movie too. Honestly, I think it's way worse. You want to know why? Because, for one, the victims in this are more annoying. That's for starters. The movie's way more boring. What else can I think of? The creepers' effects look total shit. More. Oh, and guess what? You even have more Victor's creeper art in this film. Lots of times. Lots more than the first film. I've already said who Victor Salva is in my first film's review, in the review for the first film, so I don't really need to explain it again. So, after Jeepers Creepers was successful, goes to 2003, 2 years later, we bring back the creepy director, for this movie to continue the story of the feeding creature in the crops, and pretty much, like, I could bet you he must have been thinking to himself, well, I need an origin to this idea. This creature feeds every 23 years. And it's apparently been 2 days since the first movie I did. So let's not dwell too much on that topic. But, of course, when you have a sequel, yeah, you know what a horror sequel always has. Bigger body count. Sexier stars. So we need to now have a full school bus of basketball players that seem to love this idea of being shirtless multiple times. And cheerleaders stranded and being picked off one by one. We need to recognize the first one, social continuity. So let's have one main act, Justin Lawn from the first film, appear in the sequel for like one scene because, alright, Victor killed him off in the first film. But he's in a dream sequence. For no reason whatsoever. And trying to give the creature new characteristics while making him vulnerable. Let's just have him lose his head, but somehow he'll be able to grow it back with one of the heads of the school children. And then top off the thrills with what should have been the main plot instead. This vengeful farmer that has a weapon that will destroy the creature. Which honestly should have been the main plot instead of the school kids. Jeepers Creepers 2, I guess, does offer more victims, like every other horror sequel usually does. The male characters, though, like most of the male characters in this, they're unbelievable brats that have hobbies of not wearing their shirts, tanning on a bus. Yeah, I wonder whose idea that was for a scene. Oh, pissing together and just acting douchey. They have, like, ridiculous dialogues, like, we just dropped a notch of the food chain, or they show, like, no signs of even, they try to protect any of the females that they have crushes on, more than their own group. Like, you can tell the budget is doubled here, so, you know the creature obviously is going to get more screen time, like computer-generated close-ups, or such shitty-looking close-ups of it. Or he flies around picking off his victims at will, whether it's licking the bus or dog sniffing them. Yeah, still doing that. Like it's just like this movie. You get picked up, flown away by the creeper. Or teens looking through the hole in the roof and seeing something scary. More footage of the creeper's wings, or like, oh God, like, yeah. The first one's bad and this ain't any better. How do we start off this film? Well, it's been 3 days since we last saw the creeper kill Derry, so now the creeper abducts this young boy named Billy Tugger in front of his father Jack Sir, his older brother Jack Jr., and their dog Mac, and it's 22nd day of feeding. Then the next day, a school bus carrying a high school shirtless basketball team and cheerleaders suffer this blowout, and one of the tires is hit by a handcrafted weapon made of bone fragments. And then one cheerleader named Minxie Hayes has this vision of Billy Tiger and Derry Jenner from the first film, attempting to warn her about the creeper before it blows out another tire and disables the bus. So the team is stranded, and for the first bit of the stranding, you get the shirtless tanning on the bus scene, and you get the 3 boys pissing together. Yeah, because Victor can't stop putting his own art in this. God, but then they, at first, you know what? Let's just keep the bus moving with a flat tire. Yeah, that's a great idea. Such a great idea right there. It's a little limp, but we can make it work. No, it will not work. Oh my God. Yeah, you're stranded in the middle of nowhere, but driving with a flat tire is honestly not a smarter idea to get out of there. But then that tire gets destroyed, obviously, and the creeper then abducts the bus driver and the coaches, and then the creeper returns. He pretty much is at the window where he's licking the bus window, giving the eyes at them. He singles out 6 of the students, one named Dante, one named Jake, one named Nixie, one named Scotty, one named Andy, and one named DeAndre. And then Minxie has another vision where Derry says the creeper emerges every 23rd spring for 23 days to eat humans. And that's what she tells the other students. That makes no sense. I mean, how the hell does Derry suddenly know? How would Derry suddenly know the creature's origins? The last we saw of him, he went down to a hole. He didn't find any origins of the creeper. He found dead bodies. And he found a ring and quickly got out of there. Then, after the whole movie was him and Trish trying to evade the creeper, he got abducted by the creeper and got his eyes torn out. The majority, like the first third quarters of the film, like it's so boring. Like the scenes are repetitive and tedious. Like there's one where characters keep shouting the same words over and over again. And then like the point where you honestly, I would say, if this was directed by somebody else, I would say I'd want these characters to die, but I can't really. I mean, shut up, yeah, but I'm not going to say die for this, knowing exactly who the creeper's clearly based off of, so I'm not going to say I want these characters to die. Not by this creature. The core part of the plot was, like, you have this father-son drama, and the matter, like, the soon-to-be victims that discover the creeper's intentions are laughable, the character interaction and dialogue are so poor, and they just come across as bad acting. Like, there's, like, the only suspense you get is like 10 minutes of suspense, like when in terms of horror. There's 2 scenes that I guess qualify for that genre, but then it gets ruined by all the unfunny dialogue and just the very like most of the ending was kind of just rushed, also very rushed. Like it's just a quick effort at just squeezing out a few more bucks in the budget. Before the creature could fly off into the sunset for 23 years. Remember, it comes back every 23 years to eat. It's obvious and predictable that you might as well just write a list of predicting chronological order of deaths before they all happen, and that's pretty obvious too. The beast, of course, survives an attack that would kill a typical animal over 100 times and keeps coming back for more victims, some weird reason, because it's somehow able to regenerate. And we all know that one teen on a bus full of like 50 or 60 kids would... Don't you think like these kids would have us... If this is 2001, don't you think these kids would have a cell phone to be calling for help if the bus was shut down? Apparently they don't. They do not. Because they want this movie to play out successfully. Like... Yeah. When I ever say Victor puts more of his own art in the role, people are gonna say I'm overreacting, and I'm too focused on it. I'm too focused on not willing to separate art from the artist. Well, here's the thing, guys. These scenes are why I can't actually separate art from the artist. Because, like, remembering his incident with Clown House, and being like a child porn addict. And this guy only gets like a few months in jail, and Wesley Snipes goes to jail for 3 years for some stupid taxes. Over not that big of a deal taxes for 3 years. Brian De Palma gets blacklisted from Hollywood for some minor things he said. Apparently John McTiernan also went to jail for a longer time than Victor ever did. Like... The first film, you literally had the creeper giving the eyes as victims, biting out the male cop's tongue, or sniffing Derry's underwear, and clearly having a blast doing so. This one, you get this launch shot of a bunch of shirtless boys standing on a bus roof. Hell, some of the boys themselves throughout most of the movie are all shirtless. Right there, and you have the creeper licking the bus windows, still doing the dog sniff, like, on his victims. And most of his victims are always the boys. He goes after boys more than girls. And just, he, like, still gives the fuck me eyes to every one of the kids. Yeah. Like, honestly, also, like, a bus roof is a weird place to tan when you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. Like, and people are gonna say, like, boys tan all the time. Yeah, not on a, I don't see any tanning on a school bus roof or a bus roof. Let's be like if I took transit one day and I just randomly saw a bus sitting at the bus stop and saw some random guys just lying on the transit bus roof tanning. Just imagine if I saw something like that. I'd be like, okay, I'm getting the fuck away from there. Like, no one tans on a bus roof. And besides, the last thing any of these boys should be doing if they're stranded in the middle of nowhere is taking a tan. If they're stuck in some middle of nowhere where no cars are passing by, don't you think maybe you should try go looking for help? Or staying in the bus until help comes? Oh yeah, and even have the creeper also, like, licking the boys when he selects them, too. I almost forgot to mention that. But, like, even, well, regarding all the Victor stuff, like, the movie's still bad even without that. So is the first film. The writing's more sloppier, it's unfocused than ever before. There's not really characters, just like victims. The only characters you get are a farmer and his son. And an unchargeable group of youngsters just waiting to be killed. They're just there to be the creeper's victims. And most of the cast even disappears with no explanation about halfway through, so why bother with these characters in the first place? So anyway, the Taggart are hunting for the creeper, and after they hear several police reports, they make radio contact with the school bus. But then after the school bus makes radio contact with the Taggart, the creeper attacks Bucky, but Rhonda stabs her through the head with a javelin, which apparently the guys assume is a stick. And Dante begins pretty much prodding the creeper's wing, but it then grabs and decapitates him. The creeper tears off its injured head and uses Dante's severed head to replace its own, the head scene. Then the students decide, you know what, we need to leave the bus and find help and stay here and die. Yeah! Maybe that's what you should have been doing in the first place. What you should have been doing to begin with. But the creeper... Oh, right, no. The creeper returns and chases them all to a field. It kills Jake and it takes Scotty. Like, the shocks they try to do in this movie are so predictable that they could be literally a blank script, like a bunch of silent movies from the 20s. Most of the team, they just do nothing but bicker and fight. The girls do nothing but scream a lot. So there's, oh my god, like, they just get taken to the absence of prior knowledge, or some cranky old know-it-all, and, like, one of the babes is able to have a dream of some of the creeper's victims, is able to have a dream of Derry, despite the fact they have no connection to one another, and allows her to explain everything and fill in the plot narrative. It's, like, there's the whole thing. Why, like, when the farmer kills this guy, why did they try to put him up as a scarecrow? I thought this guy, like, I thought this creeper guy tried to eat him while setting him, well, like, didn't this creeper guy, like, yeah, he's in hibernation, but still, like, wouldn't, imagine if they was being hunted up on the day he was starting to wake up. Wouldn't he have gotten eaten if he had set him up there? Or won't he escape when he finally awakes? Like, or like, oh, the beginning scene, like, yeah, that too. How did this creeper suddenly hang himself like a scarecrow in the beginning scene? And looks too identical to the other two scarecrows. There. Now, and like the teen kids just have no chemistry at all. There's nothing really enjoyable about them. I mean, they're just there to be victims of the creeper. That's about it. Like, they're so stupid. It's like, hey, let's sit in the bus. How about go get help? Apparently sitting in the bus for like a whole entire night is a better idea. Now they'll like try to damn leave and the creeper's like knocked out on the roof. And don't try to go investigate it. Like, these guys already doomed themselves from the start. Like, this whole sequel, the deaths could have been long avoided if these kids had a brain. And, like, the cheerleader that has the dreams, like, she's just there to replace the psychic lady from the first film. Like, clearly just trying to be a replacement of the annoying psychic lady. It's like, and the Creeper just having this penchant for sniffing out and attacking young males, and it's just, that should already make people, that should definitely be enough proof to make people aware who Victor Salva is. Like, regardless if Victor Salva wasn't a creeper, like, it doesn't change the fact that even then, like, even without those charges, he still can't direct a creature horror film worth shit. But this first film, and this sequel too. So anyway, the Creeper tries to check Johnny and Chelsea and Bucky on the bus again, but the Taggart and Mac arrive, and Jack shoots him with a harpoon, and the Creeper fights off and escapes after flipping over the bus. Then Rhonda, Izzy, and Double D find a truck. They attempt to escape, but they get chased by the Creeper again. Izzy then pushes Rhonda out of the truck before causing the vehicle to crash, and both Double D and the Creeper are injured. The Creeper loses an arm, it loses a leg, it loses a wing, but Izzy crawls from the wreckage before the truck explodes. The Creeper is continuing to pursue Double D and leaping towards him, when as Double D pinned down, Jack then shows up, shoots the Creeper in the head with the harpoon, and stabs the Creeper in its heart, but it goes, sadly though, while he's stabbing the Creeper repeatedly, it goes into hibernation state before it can die. Like, here's the thing, even if it's hibernation state, I'd still keep stabbing the shit out of it. Like, instead of stabbing the shit out of it repeatedly, how about, like, get an axe and chop off its head while it's sleeping, so it never wakes up, and chop off the rest of his limbs? I would have did that instead. Another thing, like, Jack takes, like, forever to stab the Creeper. Like, they also don't explain how the Creeper now has a bunch of weapons, and now has somehow more personality. And the regeneration process, like, when the victims are consumed, it does get filmed in detail. Now, I mean, the movie, now I will admit, when you do first see the Creeper, it's a fine enough shot of the Creeper pinned up with some this black scarecrow against the sky to set up the beginning of the film. Like, most of the film, like what happened to that warehouse of the Creeper? We never see it again from the end of the first film. Like, there's no truck this time, there's no church, like the Creeper just carries around a bunch of stupid weapons this time, he somehow has. Like, the first he, like, carried an axe, but this time he carries around a bunch of dumb weapons that are just used to pop the tires or just prevent the characters from leaving. And the Creeper now has sonic speed, too, for some weird reason, and that's just ridiculous. And the scenes where he's flying, like, the CGI looks fucking awful. Like, most of the time he's on his feet, and only uses his wings, like, 2 times, and apparently the first one his wings are yellow. Or, actually, they're yellow in this movie, but they were not yellow in the first film. Like, even the CGI in the Creeper looked kind of better in the first one. Unlike this. Like, this looks like you're in front of a fucking green screen, watching some random creature just being added into the green screen in the nighttime sky. Now, we do get onto the finale, where it's now 2024, it's 23 years later, 3 teenagers are driving out to the Tiger Farm, or apparently the Creeper's now a slideshow attraction called A Bat Out of Hell. And we see the middle-aged Jack Jr. Charging entrance fees, and they see an elderly Jack Sir. He's watching with his harpoon on his side, and they ask him if he's waiting for something. He's clearly waiting for the Creeper to come to life so he can finish his killing job. And he pretty much says about 3 more days. Give or take a day or 2. And you see, like, the Creeper just lying in position. And it's over. It's over. It's over right there. It's a better ending than the first film. A better climax than the first film. I'll give credit for that. But that's how the worst sequel ends. Like, just when you think the fictional Creeper monster himself is about to be finished off by Ray's Wise, it hibernates, and it's going to come back in 23 years to do even more creepy things. And honestly, even if it's hibernation sleep, like, the farmer should have picked up an axe and should have just chopped off its fucking head and chopped off the rest of its whole body to entire pieces. Like, even if it's hibernating to sleep. Like, that way, when it hibernates, chop off its head and it never wakes up. Nah, instead, let's just hang him up as an attraction. Because Victor clearly kept trying to make a third movie, but people were starting to know who he was, so it got more and more possible. It did happen in 2017, and it was just like unwatchable to many people that actually do like these two films. Like, many started finally discovering who he was. And like, the series didn't stop there, because while Jeepers Creepers 3 was not well received by anybody and killed off Victor's version, they tried to reboot it without Victor with Jeepers Creepers Reborn in 2022. And apparently that was much more unwatchable than any other bad horror film combined of that year. Like, so, yeah. This series is clearly not going to be a series that's going to be ever revived or probably be seen by anybody ever again anytime soon. Don't count on a requel to Jeepers Creepers 1 being made, because everyone knows who Victor is, and when they hear Jeepers Creepers, they're going to immediately think of Victor, and they're going to not want anything to do with the series, or anything to do with that guy, at all. Plus, they try to reboot it without him, and it was just even shittier. More like double shittier. So yeah. You're not gonna see this creature ever again. Now, this film does have good qualities, yeah. It's got a better climax this time around. It's got a somewhat better ending. And the music was pretty fine. There was some fun action in the ending. But it's not really an action film. And the gore's not too bad. And I will admit, Ray Wise was honestly a decent character. Ray Wise's character, Jack Sir, was honestly a pretty decent character. Definitely much smarter compared to Tristan Derry from the first one. And it was nice to see him getting his revenge on the Creeper. And actually finally giving the Creeper what he deserves. And stabbing his entire body. I wish he did hack it to pieces, but stabbing his entire body is also pretty good. Other than those, though, Jeepers Creepers 2, it's even worse than Jeepers Creepers 1. It still has the real art of the artist himself, and it's even more prominent this time around, and it's still horribly written and directed. Regardless if the director's a creeper or not. So, you hated Jeepers Creepers 1, you'll hate this movie as well. So in the end, do also avoid Jeepers Creepers 2 like the plague, because it's even worse than the first one and more badly written and directed by the infamous Creeper himself. Anyways, guys, that's it for my rant on Jeepers Creepers 2. And if you want to know how you rate Jeepers Creepers 2, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you hated Jeepers Creepers 1, you're going to easily hate Jeepers Creepers 2 even more, because there's nothing improved here, the director's art is shown even more than the last outing, and it's just an even more boring movie in general, so do avoid this film as well. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rate Jeepers Creepers 2, I'm going to give Jeepers Creepers 2 a 3 out of 10. Alright guys, here we go. That wraps up Jeepers Creepers 2. Finally, we finished these damn movies. I can put them back. Bought these to give them the review, and I finally did. Don't have to revisit those two again. Sadly, we might have to revisit those other two eventually, but I don't want to do it right now. I don't. Now, and now we're just pretty much about 3 more episodes left of this whole season. Wow, that was quick. That went by pretty fast. On the good side of things, guess what I finally got my ticket for? Hold on, guys. I'm coming right there. Yes! Today, I just got my ticket for Terrifier 3. That I am excited to watch. Now that I can't wait to watch this week. As this is being recorded. This was recorded around October 8th. Alright, until then guys, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe to Don G. Corleone.